Welcome to Lesson 7 in Unit 13, Avoiding Extinction. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how can we find solutions to help endangered animals? In this lesson, students evaluate and compare different solutions to protect the prairie chicken in a class debate. Students figure out that there are many possible solutions to a problem, and solutions can be evaluated based on how well they solve the problem. Students make connections to the storyline by evaluating solutions for protecting the prairie chicken and the prairie ecosystem. There are several opportunities for ELA and social studies cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 13 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 to 5 days to complete. To begin the Lesson 7 Engage, you'll revisit the anchoring problem by asking students why the prairie chicken is endangered, how the ecosystem could be affected if the prairie chicken disappears, and how we can figure out ways to save the prairie chicken. You'll revisit the driving question board to add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions about what we can do to help the prairie chicken, or if humans are helping the prairie chicken. For the Explore portion, you'll ask students if they have ever heard the term conservation and how they think humans can try to conserve prairie chickens and their ecosystem. You can post the conservation vocabulary card. You'll tell students that they are going to participate in a debate to argue for the best solution to help the prairie chicken recover. You'll read aloud the Great Prairie Chicken Debate Student Journal page. You'll then review the criteria and constraints for a successful solution with the class. While you discuss, you can post the criteria and constraints vocabulary cards. You'll have students review how each solution meets the criteria and constraints and fill out the Prairie Chicken Debate Notes Student Journal pages. For the Explain portion, you'll invite students to gather for the debate. You'll use the provided questions to help guide the debate. After the debate, students can vote on the solution they would pick. For the Elaborate portion, you'll have students work in groups to construct a written argument using the Prairie Chicken Argument Student Journal page. Students can create a presentation about their chosen solution to go with their written argument. They can use the peer feedback table tent as a way to ask questions and provide feedback. For the Evaluate portion, you'll review the Solution Argument Rubric Student Journal page with students. You'll allow them to self-assess their arguments or work with a partner to use the rubric to give and receive feedback on the debate. You'll also engage in a final discussion. The goal of this class discussion is for teams to revisit the learning throughout the unit and wrap up the unit. You can use your summary charts from throughout the unit to help guide this discussion. Finally, you'll play the end of the Protecting the Prairie Chicken video. The video will explore some of the real conservation efforts humans are doing to protect the prairie chicken. To support student sense-making across the unit, you'll orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, did we answer any of the questions on our driving question board? Are there any questions we haven't answered? You'll try to wrap up any final questions on the driving question board before the end of the unit. You'll then have students complete the Section 3 summative assessment. By the end of this lesson, students will have used criteria and constraints to compare multiple solutions to help the prairie chicken population, and made a claim about one prairie chicken solution and supported it with evidence. For the optional Extend, you can have students read Junior Earth Journalists. You can have students share ways they can help conserve or protect wildlife species and areas in their community. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.